What's up, everyone? Welcome to this week's installment of DappRadar Meets. I'm Ian, your host, and the date is Wednesday, the 16th of March. I hope you're all doing well out there in the cryptoverse. Another week of uncertainty and global events impacting the space while we try and stay objective and deliver the information that matters. As always, a big thanks to everyone tuning in right now. Today we have some of the team from the Lisk blockchain with us, so I'm just going to do a quick sound check. Hey, do we have you guys?
Hello.
Hey, cool. So we've got the Lisk team on board. So let me just run through some admin and I'll be right back with you, okay? So as always, we record these sessions for people to catch up later. If you've missed any of the other shows, you can get them on YouTube. Just head over to the YouTube channel. You can find tons of educational and analytical videos to help you along with your Dapp journey. So what's been going on this week? Lots of news this week already, and it's only Wednesday. A big announcement from HSBC today. According to a press release, they've acquired a land plot in the Sandbox. This is the bank's first foray into the Web3 space and the metaverse, and is sure to create a little bit of hype around the Sandbox right now. Not that it needs it. Mythical Games has also dropped some information about its Blanco's Block Party roadmap for 2022. Blockchain-powered online multiplayer game will launch its Ethereum bridge, various social features, and gameplay improvements before the end of June this year. Also, some of you may remember LimeWire. Some of you might. It was a popular file-sharing site about a decade ago. It's revealed that it's chosen the Algorand blockchain because it's relaunching as an NFT marketplace. It's going to stay true to its musical roots, and it also plans to launch a token later this year. So quite an interesting proposition, something to keep an eye on there. Radar airdrop as well. So this is to do with the DappRadar token Radar. It has now ended. The Radar airdrop end on Monday, and we have a live vote taking place right now. So you guys can vote and influence the decision on where Radar comes next. Will it be Binance Smart Chain? Sorry, BNB Chain, Polygon, Avalanche, or somewhere else? Currently, I believe at the last check, Polygon was in the lead. So even though we track 35 blockchains, users can only find Radar token on Ethereum right now, but we need to go multi-chain. Also this week, we've had a couple of reports land. We had the Defiant and DappRadar exclusive report, and it takes a really deep look at the conflict in Ukraine, its impact on the industry in regards to overall blockchain adoption and use. And then also this week, we've had the BGA DappRadar game report for February. What we can see is that blockchain games are following the industry's kind of downward trajectory. But game Dapps activity is down by 13%, but still attracted well over 1 million daily unique active wallets in February. So loads of stuff happening this week. As always, head over to the blog. Lots of stuff to read there. Without further ado, let's get into what we're here for. Every week, I sit down with the brightest minds behind leading protocols, blockchain games, NFT projects, and DeFi dApps. We speak to them and we try and get a better idea of what's in store for them and a clearer picture of the people behind the scenes. Really, most importantly, is to give you guys a chance to ask difficult questions and make sure that you listen out, so if your question's already been asked, you can change it. So before we dive right in, let's get everybody on the same page about Lisk. So let me give you a quick 411. Lisk is a digital platform useful for developers who wish to build, publish, distribute, and monetize blockchain applications, Dapps. As one of the leading blockchain platforms, it's become a growing space for building ticketing systems, marketplaces, and even stablecoins. And quite importantly, it's rooted in one of the easiest programming languages, JavaScript, which may go some way to explaining its success. Moreover, Lisk and DappRadar are going to work together to help grow the Lisk blockchain ecosystem. The partnership is going to help attract more users and developers to the Lisk platform, and then later in the year, we will integrate Lisk into the DappRadar rankings. And overall, Lisk has been progressing really well along its roadmap this year. Notably, the team have hit quite a few milestones in Feb already, including the release of the Lisk Desktop version 2, Lisk Mobile version 2, and more. Okay, guys, so let's jump straight into the elevator pitch, shall we? I want you to pretend that you're stuck in a lift with me for about a minute. Have a t-shirt on that says I'm an investor, and I want you to impress me and tell me all about Lisk and why I should be paying attention.
Hi. So Lisk is about accessibility. So blockchain is a complex topic and it's quite difficult to build. And we are trying to address that for developer to build, to make blockchain development easy for developers. And not only the software that we are building, but also the protocols that we chose are based on this concept. that we want to make it accessible and easy for developers.
Okay, cool. So just to break that down slightly, you're all about accessibility and ease of access, hence why building in JavaScript is a good option, and that's what you guys want to deliver to the world. Let's kick off with some background on Lisk and the team. And first question I kind of have is like, what motivates you guys? What's getting you out of bed every morning?
I think right now what we are excited most is the interoperability. So I think the interoperability was, or sidechain was like an initial idea from the beginning of Lisk, and we know basically how to implement them right now, and we are like getting closer and closer every day, and that's probably the most exciting thing right now.
Achieving true interoperability across blockchains, that's what's getting you out of bed. So why is your team so well placed? Like, can you talk to us a little bit about yourself, your background, and the team around you? Why are you best placed to be delivering Lisk?
I think in general we have like all my teammates, or most of my teammates are working in Lisk for 4 years now, and I also started working in Lisk like more or less 4 years ago. I didn't. I was for me. I was not in the blockchain industry before Lisk, so I started learning blockchain probably like 4 or 5 years ago for development, and I think we have learned, like we have released multiple versions of Lisk, and we have researched and tried a lot of protocol changes, and I think we learned a lot about blockchain by now, and I think that's same for my teammates as well.
Okay, cool. So you guys have had, it's been quite, you've been in the game quite a long time. So you've had quite a few years of kind of successes and fails. And you said there that it's quite exciting to be working on the technology. Anything come to mind over the last few years that stands out as a really big win for Lisk? And then any fails that you want to kind of talk about as well? Anything that you know, sometimes I ask these questions and people say, you know, we planned to do this, then actually we had to change everything as things evolved. So is there anything like that that's happened over the kind of years that you've been working with Lisk, sort of wins and fails?
I think the big win that we had recently is Lisk Core 3.0 release. In Lisk Core 3.0, we had like a huge protocol change. I think it's basically fundamentally different blockchain protocol from the previous version. And we have been planning that release for quite a while, and finally we released last year in August, I think.
Yep.
And I think that was quite a success. I mean, the protocol migration, blockchain migration went quite smooth, and I think that was quite success. Although we had several issue or improvement points about like the communications and like the onboarding community exchanges, but I think overall as the protocol migration, I think it went quite well.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So let's talk about, so we've kind of got a good idea of what Lisk is, what Lisk does, and we'll talk about the technology stack in more detail a little bit later. But I mean, one question I have is that one of your objectives is to encourage people to build on blockchains, to build Dapps on blockchains. So how do you guys plan to encourage developers to look at the blockchain as an option?
So we have currently running multiple campaign or multiple promotion. For example, this grant program is one of them that we want to help developer start building the blockchain application. And we have done multiple hackathon, and we are planning to do more hackathon in future. Other than that, we have also like tried to be involved in the community as much as we can when we have time. And I think we are also trying to be open-minded for like a new type of like involvement from our side as well.
Sure. Very cool. That all makes perfect sense to me. I'm thinking, maybe perhaps I'm thinking a bit wider. and sort of the things that you are using as the kind of sales points to get people on board with blockchain. You know, why should I build an application on blockchain rather than build one on the App Store, for example? What kind of things do you guys talk about?
Okay. So that's quite interesting and good questions. It's I think for most people, or even for me, it's quite difficult to answer for like general cases. Like I think when someone says like I want to build a blockchain application, and most often you hear like why blockchain, and I think it's a valid question, and it's a difficult one because not everything has to be built on blockchain, but certain things can be solved by blockchain quite well. And one of the things I learned over the time is like I think in technology we have like event sourcing kind of paradigm that like everything is stored in the event, and it's similar to like accounting system. Like everything has to be logged everything so that like somebody some authority come in and you need to give them like an audit for the proof of those accounting histories, and kind of those things, those event sourcing type of system are often quite well suited in the blockchain because the concept is quite similar. And I would say like probably find something in that kind of concept and try to think if it makes sense to build in the blockchain, and that might be quite interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, isn't it? Because it has been a question that arises where I think for a number of years people were just kind of gravitating to building on blockchain because it was like a cool thing to do, right? And then you needed to ask yourself the questions, do I actually need blockchain? So I think time's gone forward. I mean, I'm like you, I've been involved in this space for quite a few years, so I've seen the development. And I think people are starting to now understand that more deeply, and that certain projects just kind of try to stitch blockchain onto the side. And it's not really necessary in a lot of times. So once you kind of get to the point where you're speaking with developers and they are convinced that building on the blockchain is a good choice, and why does Lisk, how does it serve as a valuable option for developers? Let's not go. The next question I have is really going deep on the tech stack. So just kind of what sets Lisk apart? Like, why should developers be looking at Lisk?
So I think so in Lisk, like there's like probably main two parts of like choosing Lisk. I think one is about protocol and one is about like a tooling that we provide. And for the protocol, Lisk is quite open, accessible protocol. For example, like for example in Polkadot, when you want to be a parachain, you have to gather a lot of funding to secure the spot on the parachain. I mean that has a definitely advantage for the like delegating the security on the main chain on the Polkadot, but also it is quite difficult to become that. On the other hand, in Lisk, you can actually just build a blockchain application on your own, and you can connect to the main chain without having that much funding secured.
Good point, actually.
So I think that's
a lot of people don't know that about Polkadot, I don't think. So it's a really good point that you've just put in there, that it has to be bid on and it's not like a given like you've just described there. But sorry, carry on.
Yeah. And so that's kind of like the openness or accessibility about the protocol that we push in Lisk. And also another point is kind of tooling that we provide. So we built the SDK in JavaScript that is very kind of well-known language, and it's quite easy to start. And especially at the beginning, if someone wants to build a blockchain, you have to learn about blockchain and understand what is possible to build in the blockchain, and you probably need to do a lot of iteration of building and scrapping your concept. And in that sense, it should be like fast and like it needs to be like a fast cycle to do those things, especially at the beginning. And I think it's quite well suited for that iteration.
Okay, cool. I've got a question in the audience. I'm just going to jump to quickly and see if he's available to ask, and then we'll go into the tech stack a bit deeper, I think.
Sure.
Here we go. HTech 1995. Are you there? He's there, but he's on silent. All right, cool. Let's carry on for a little bit then. And if you come up, then please ask your question. But yeah, like I said, let's talk about the tech stack a little bit, because I'm really intrigued to understand more clearly how Lisks kind of stacks up against the so many options available now for builders. So digging into like transaction time, speeds, things like that would be really good to give the developer community an idea of why building on Lisk is such a good option. Yeah, just can we dive into the tech stack a little bit more and talk
Sure.
about and talk about the technology behind Lisk a little bit and how it stacks up against other blockchains, because there are a lot of choices out there. So why is Lisk kind of popping out as a good option? And yeah, let's just go from there.
Sure. So tech stack of Lisk is, I mean, we built everything using Node.js, TypeScript, and all the tool around the blockchain SDK is built in TypeScript. Internally and conceptually, it's quite similar to other blockchain. So what you can build is quite similar to what other SDK project provides. And also like internally, like internal database and all those like technical choices that we made are quite similar. I mean, we don't always choose the same kind of protocol or same technical decisions at the other projects, but the general kind of concept and tech stack is quite similar to the other blockchain SDK projects, except the language, I guess.
The programming language is what we can discuss. So let's talk about that a little bit. How did that choice come around? Is that just to do? Does that really goes with your hand in hand with accessibility, right? So
yeah.
And so developers that build on Lisp don't need any previous experience building with Solidity or any of the Ethereum programming languages. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So everything you can build in Lisk SDK is you only need to know the TypeScript, and you'll learn the blockchain concept along the way.
Okay, got it. So what about the kind of the consensus mechanism? Is it proof of work, proof of stake? And what are the kind of speeds and transaction times that people should expect? And also that killer question about fees. What should we expect on this?
Sure. So the Lisk main chain is using delegated proof of stake. So it's a variant of a proof of stake system. And I think the current transaction speed is, so our block time is 10 seconds right now, and I think the transaction per block depends on the block size. So it's about like, I think currently 100 transactions per block is more or less the limit at this point. For using our SDK, block time is also kind of variable that you developer can choose. I think we have tested until like a 4-second time block time setting. So people can choose to use like a 4-second time block time, or they can expand to, I don't know, like 10 minutes block time is also kind of possible. Okay. And in SDK, we have currently delegated proof of stake as default option for the consensus algorithm together with BFT. But we are planning to include proof of authority module in the future so that developer can choose either DPoS or proof of authority, or maybe in the future some other consensus algorithm to choose from.
Okay, so it's quite flexible. There's quite a lot of choices there as well for developers as well. Sounds good. So we can get deeper into like the you've got various, as mentioned at the beginning, there are various campaigns and programs that are running through Lisk that are offering grants and other financial and other services as well. And we'll jump into those closer to the end, I think, and kind of relay all the details. But one of the questions I've kind of got is like, what's the current state of the ecosystem of Dapps on Lisk right now? What projects have been created already? Which ones are in the pipeline?
So from the grant program, as you mentioned, we have several projects that are currently building using Lisk SDK. I think from like a stablecoin, DAO, kind of education platform, NFT, identity, like all kinds of projects are building on Lisk right now. And together with interoperability, that will be those blockchain will be communicating to each other through main chain on Lisk main chain. And additionally, internally in the light curve or Lisk, we are building DEX in the Lisk platform, and that will be released together with interoperability. Also, this is I think still on early stage, so I'm not 100% sure yet, but I think we will be working on the bridge to the other project as well.
Okay. So when we talk about interoperability with Lisk, are we talking about the ability to be able to move assets between blockchains in a smooth and efficient way? Are we talking about bridging tech, or how is it working on Lisk?
Okay. So the interoperability is, I guess the short question is both. So you in the Lisk interoperability, you can move the assets like tokens from one chain to another. And also with a new NFT module that we will be implementing soon, NFT also can be moved around the chain.
Nice.
But it's not only that, but it's more generic in a way that any information can move from one chain to another if they agree on those information.
Okay, so could you, for example, perform actions on Lisk that would trigger actions on a different blockchain, so you don't have to, as an investor, perhaps you don't have to spend time doing individual actions on each network? Is it working in that way, or is that something for the future, perhaps?
So currently, like the Lisk main chain, it will be only just a hub of all the blockchains, but it's definitely possible to trigger something from one chain or one of the sidechain that affects like a different blockchain on the other side.
Got it. Okay, cool. So a proof of stake blockchain, which means that you've got pretty fast transaction times and negotiable gas fees for transactions. So as a protocol, you're pretty well set up to deal with all sorts of Dapps, DeFi, DAOs, NFTs, and others. What's kind of true? Who's coming to Lisk and saying we want to build on Lisk? Have you got play to earn? Have you got NFT projects? Who's gravitating towards you?
As far as I know from our like programs, I think NFT, DAO, like identity, like all kind of people are trying to build using this.
You're quite open to all categories of Dapps. You're not focused just in the DeFi area or in the NFT area, as some blockchains are. Quite broad, right?
Yeah, it's very generic.
Okay, cool. So out of the teams that are building currently, where do they sit in the categories? Is it more DeFi heavy, NFTs, play to earn? What's happening?
Currently, I think NFT is probably the most popular one. I haven't seen DeFi area so much.
Okay.
Compared to like other NFT, we have DEX. We are building DEX, but other than that, I haven't seen them. Maybe DEX and stablecoin are probably the main one that I've seen.
Yeah,
so far
they're the kind of core principles of a network, sort of, aren't they? In my opinion, you need your DEX to facilitate trading on the network. So you just mentioned there that you guys are building a DEX. Is that a kind of Lisk official Lisk DEX, or like how that decentralized exchange? By the way, guys, for anyone wondering what we're talking about with DEXs. Is that going to be like a sort of internally built Lisk DEX, or are you outsourcing, or what's happening with that? Sounds quite interesting.
So DEX we are building in-house or in our company, and also we will be publishing this DEX module as part of the SDK. So if someone wants to build a different kind of DEX using our kind of protocol, that's also going to be possible as well.
Okay, cool. So let's jump into these initiatives a little bit. So Lisk is currently engaged in quite a few initiatives to onboard developers to build on Lisk. So can we talk about some of those initiatives? Which ones should we check out? And what are the requirements for kind of willing developers? Like what do you want to see from them?
Mm-hmm. So I think so we have there's a Lisk grant program. I think the wave 4 is currently running until end of this month or maybe end of next month. I'm actually not sure when it's going to end, but we are currently still running the grant program, and the requirements for that is description of all team members, business plan, and pitch deck. Those are kind of official requirements to apply for grant program, and we'll look at all the pitch decks and team members, business plan, and if that all makes sense, we'll do the interviews with our team.
Okay, cool. So in terms of the grant program, what are we talking about here in regards to financial support, marketing support, development support? How wide is it?
I think the main thing is financial support. And for the development support, I don't think we include it in the grant program as of now.
Mm-hmm.
But we are always, or most of the time, we are also on our Discord channel, Lisk chat, and we get all kinds of questions in the Lisk chat and supporting there.
Okay, cool. So for any developers wanting to know more information about the Lisk grant program, the Discord is a great place to go and ask your questions. And what kind of like best practices, like what can increase the chances of a Dapp project getting funding through Lisk? Like again, like what are you guys? What are you looking for in a project? Are you looking for the next Uniswap, or you know?
Mm-hmm. So during the application reviewing, we have different people reviewing from all the angles. So we have a marketing team looking from looking at the pitch deck, and also research team or us development team are looking at kind of technical feasibility or how interesting it is from the research or protocol side. And so I cannot really speak for all other kind of disciplines, but from my point of view, the main important thing or main thing that I usually look is the technical foundation and the team.
Okay.
And yeah, basically answering questions like why blockchain, or why is it feasible, or why does it matter to have this blockchain application in the ecosystem, and can the team really build this? I think those are the main questions that I'm looking for.
Yeah, I think it's a good set of questions to ask, and I think it goes back to what we were saying earlier about how you need to qualify projects through this first stage to make sure they're actually in need of what it is you offer. So that's really important. On top of the grant program, you've got the grant program. There's other programs running, or am I wrong about that? There's a few running side by side, right?
I'm not sure all the programs which are running right now. We do like the hackathon on and off. I'm not sure if the hackathon is actually running right now at this moment.
Okay, all good. As I said earlier, people can head over to your Discord and check things out there later on, so that's all cool as well. So the Lisk ecosystem of Dapps, what's your ambitions for it? You know, how do you see it developing over 2022? And kind of where do you see it heading? What's the important milestones for you guys?
So for us, biggest milestone is the interoperability release. So we are working quite hard to implement the interoperability and trying to release the SDK which supports the interoperability so that everyone can build interoperable blockchain application. That's and after that, or maybe at the same time, we are also building DEX so that when we release the interoperability, or like soon after, we can facilitate all the kind of token exchanges on our DEX. That's the kind of another point that we are trying to achieve. this year. But in the future, probably something that we already are looking for is a bridge to the other ecosystem. I don't think we have decided to which ecosystem, but we want to bridge to the other blockchain protocol as well. And we have planned several blockchain protocol improvements which makes even more easier or more secure to use a Lisk blockchain in general. I think we have like several objectives or several kind of plans to do that as well.
Okay, cool. So this year is all about building an ecosystem around your blockchain and bringing Dapps in to create that ecosystem. Because I think we went through this last week as well in the call, that there's some people that kind of, they see Dapps and they see blockchains and they kind of don't put the two things together that well. So with the Dapps that run on the Lisk ecosystem, as we said with DEX, what they do is they power the ecosystem. So they start to attract users in. So at this point, that's what Lisk is all about. They're trying to build up their ecosystem of Dapps and attract developers into the ecosystem. But with that in mind, like how can people get involved with Lisk? Like, how can they join the ecosystem? You mentioned Discord. Like, what are your most popular channels? And do you have perhaps like an ambassador program for people who may want to kind of champion Lisk as well?
Yeah, I think in last event that we announced that we will be bringing back this ambassador program. I think more information will be announced soon. I'm not sure about full context here, but if someone is interested in the ambassador program or any other involvement in a Lisk ecosystem, Lisk chat is always the place to go, because everyone will be there. I think all the announcements will be on the Discord channel.
Okay, so Discord is your kind of key social channel where you can get everything. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Perfect. So thinking about the kind of Dapps that are building there, and I'm thinking about the trends that I've observed over the last 6 months in the industry. We're seeing blockchain gaming has become a huge thing. We've also seen that networks like Harmony have had Dapps that are fundamentally gaming Dapps that are the leaders on their networks. Is the metaverse and play to earn an area of interest for Lisk?
I think we are currently trying to be very open or very generic, that in essence we can support any kind of applications that people want to build. So of course GameFi or any other new trends which comes in the future will be supported. But at the moment, as a maybe core team, we are not planning to build any other things than the interoperability index right now, or we don't have the plan to do that right at this moment.
Sure, because you've got a focus, and I think it's good that you're going to stick with that focus. That's why I'm asking. I think it's quite important that you guys are quite arrogant in that way and you stick to it, what you're doing. So that's really cool. I'm just thinking about sort of Lisk in a wider way and how it stacks up against other projects as well. And we've got such a vast array of blockchains out there. Is there any sort of real key aspects of Lisk where people... I mean, I think we should dig into the programming language a little bit here. And can you explain a little bit how simple or not simple, if it is, how does it make it much easier for people to just jump into Lisk?
Other programming, like compared to other language, I think Node.js is, I think a lot of developers, like at least recently, start from learning JavaScript. So basically, if you want to write a blockchain application or blockchain industry in general, you have to learn this a new concept, because it's not really same as like other like a web development as well. So if you have to learn a new language and new concept, it will be quite difficult. And basically, if you know the JavaScript, it's quite simple to just install our toolkit and generate your new application and start kind of trying something that runs on the blockchain.
can kind of jump in, test your skills, see what's happening. I mean, how about projects that have built in another language? Would they find it difficult to port over to Lisk and to operate there? What would be that process, for example?
Do you mean like, let's say, for example, Cosmos, like some project using Cosmos is moving towards Lisk? Is it easy or not?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. Yeah, like how easy is it to move across projects? From Cosmos is one thing because it has its SDK as well. So yeah, in the case of Cosmos, for example, then how easy would it be, or how difficult, for example?
Conceptually speaking, I think it's not that different from Cosmos to Lisk. So it's like, of course, you have to know what kind of both kind of SDK quite well to migrate one to another correctly. But it shouldn't be so surprisingly difficult, I would say.
Okay, cool. So, what kind of strategy do you think? What kind of strategy was Lisk kind of trying to employ to bring non-crypto natives into the ecosystem? There's a big drive right now to onboard users into any blockchain ecosystem and to use the Dapps there. How is Lisk going about that? It's a big challenge. So, how is Lisk going about that?
Yeah, I think we are kind of trying a lot of ways to kind of involve or expand our user in general. And it's a bit hard for me to answer from like a technical background, but
In terms of,
I think Grand Program is. Oh, sorry.
No, sorry. I was just going to say, just to make it a bit easier, just in terms of the kind of thinking about newbies, thinking about people who are not familiar with blockchain, if they're a target of yours, how will you go about the onboarding process? Is there a native wallet for Lisk? Will it be an easy? Will it be easier than certain blockchains to get on board with, for example?
So we have this Lisk desktop and mobile, which is specifically used for our Lisk main chain right now.
Yeah.
And we are, with this interoperability, we want to expand our user set and people to, like, not only the developer, but also we want to involve more kind of average user or like a kind of trader as well in the desktop or mobile to use our network. And something that we're trying to do from technical side is to improve the user experience of those products or user-facing products as well. And other than that, sorry?
Would there be perhaps like the inclusion of some? Are you guys thinking about stablecoins? You're thinking about fiat on ramps? You mentioned a stablecoin project a moment ago there, as part of the kind of core offer of Lisk.
So together with DEX that we're building, we are planning to build this fiat on ramp that you can easily purchase Lisk from our official wallet and then convert to maybe different token in our ecosystem using the DEX. So that's kind of the grand plan that we have for like exchanges and onboarding users into our ecosystem.
Okay. And in terms of the Lisk token, like you just touched on it there, how can people perhaps get involved with Lisk from that perspective? Are there staking options available? Are you looking to onboard liquidity with Lisk? What kind of, I'm hesitant to use the word reward system, but are there opportunities for people out there with Lisk and the token?
Yeah, so right now, I think we have this, because it's delegated proof of stake, people can vote for a delegate, and delegate often reward their voters through returning some percentage of their reward, like basically reward sharing. That's the current status quo. And in the future, what we are planning to do is make it more clear how reward will be shared for the delegate proof of stake on the main chain. So that's one thing, that kind of reward will be shared kind of automatically so that people will have a clear idea how much percentage you will receive when you kind of stake your token.
Okay, cool.
Additionally, we're building the DEX, and DEX will have liquidity, and maybe not only the Lisk token, but all the token in the ecosystem will probably have like a staking system with the DEX.
Okay, cool. So there will be ways, and because it's a proof of stake blockchain. So more transparency on that front for Lisk token holders. That's cool. Very good. Okay, cool. Is there any important kind of partnerships or alliances that are coming in the near future, or that you want to give a shout out towards? Something that's happening this year that you know about already. Maybe an integration or anything else. Any partnerships?
Good question. Not that I know of. Maybe they are planned things, but I actually don't have any information.
All right, cool. So, Shu, am I right in saying that you're from the dev side of Lisk, right?
Yeah, I am head of SDK development, so I'm quite only in the technical side.
No, it's all good, man. That's why I'm asking. Let's dig in then. Let's get more comfortable with what it is that you think is most important to Lisk. Like, forget about my questions. What is it you're working on that you think people need to know about Lisk?
People need to know about Lisk.
In terms of the dev side,
I think what we're so I guess maybe most things I already kind of explained or touched upon is so we were trying to build the SDK, and I think we are basically our target audience, in at least from my perspective, is the developers, and we always try to build tools that help like developers' life or make the developers' life easy in general. And yeah, I think it'll be really helpful to have kind of feedbacks all the time, or more people involved in the kind of trying to build a blockchain application, so that we have more kind of ideas or more kind of direction towards improving our tooling.
a bit more testing, a bit more live in the wild testing required, right?
Yes, exactly.
So again, it goes back to building the ecosystem and then kind of understanding what Lisk is really capable of in the real world, right? So, man, I mean, you guys are at an early stage in what you're doing, and that's why DappRadar want to support Lisk in building a better Dapp community around yourselves. I think it's really important for any developers listening to this now or in the future that Lisk has got some really great grant opportunities available, and is also a very compelling option for building. So just to put those two things on the table, I think is quite important for the listeners right now. But, is there anything coming in the near future that you want to give a shout out to? Anything that the people should be excited about, or any big developments that they should watch for on the Discord?
So maybe the interoperability is the main focus right now, but also we are planning to have this NFT module that people can just use our module to build the NFT blockchain quite easily, or NFT platform quite easily. Also, there will be a DEX and proof of authority options that you can use to run kind of more kind of easy to manage network in a sense.
Okay, cool. So the NFT side of that sounded quite interesting. So you're saying that out of the box, people may be able to kind of build up NFT. Are we talking about NFT projects? Or are we talking about marketplaces there?
Both, I guess. So the marketplace is a bit difficult, maybe a topic, because to build a marketplace, you need also kind of a DEX feature and also like a supporting NFT. So together with DEX and NFT, maybe it's more possible to build a marketplace projects. But what NFT module does is supporting the NFT, like creating the NFT, transferring the NFT to one chain to another, or one address to another address. So those kind of feature will be out of the box supported by SDK.
Okay, got it, man. Got it. Okay, cool. So just to let's go back and recap. So Lisk is a interoperable blockchain that's operating at the moment and trying to build its community of Dapp developers and build out its Dapps. Give it better attraction and to give more people the chance to actually interact with the blockchain as well. So, Shoes, I'm going to draw it to an end here. I just want to ask you, is there something? Let's give you the chance to promote Lisk a little bit. Where should people go to find out more? We mentioned the Discord. How active are you on other channels? Developers? Is there a Git book? Other things like that. Let people know where they should be heading to.
I think the Discord is our main channel, and I don't really look at any other channel than Discord. We have a development forum that if you have any questions about development of Lisk SDK, you can ask there, and all of the kind of development progress that we have is also all transparent on GitHub. So you can look at the GitHub and see the progress that we make, or ask questions or comments on certain topics if you are really involved in like the SDK development as well.
Nice. Is there a way that developers perhaps can get involved in other ways with Lisk? More experienced developers. Do you have any openings or slots? Are you looking for anybody to come in and help with the development right now?
So we are actually hiring more people on our SDK team, but also in kind of the exchange team or the platform team, or kind of UI user interface team as well.
Okay.
So if you are a developer out there and interested in building interoperable blockchain application, then please apply.
Cool. All right, cool, man. Just a big shout out to everybody for tuning in today. Thank you very much. I know it's all a bit weird at the moment, so thank you for giving me your time. That's all the time we've got for today. So I just want to give a big thanks to my guest and the audience for tuning in. And I hope you'll learn something today in general and about Lisk. As mentioned, if you head over to their Discord, that's the best place to get further information. They've obviously got their website and other spots where you can find things out as well. Regarding information about grants and other things, that's all on the website as well. So guys, thank you so much, Shoes. Thank you for your time, and thank you for filling our community in about Lisk and other options. I think perhaps we will meet again in the future, further down the line, perhaps once we've got some Dapps out there in the wild and there's some other things we can talk about. That'd be really cool. Thank you for your time today, man. Really appreciate that.
Thank you for having
me. No worries, man. So tomorrow here on Discord, as always on a Thursday, slightly different this week, we've got Robert and Pedro, and they'll be taking a deep dive into how to value virtual land. It's quite a hot topic right now, looking at virtual land, and there's some really interesting points around how to value it. From setting up next to Snoop Dogg to finding a perfect waterside retreat in the metaverse, they all have their price tags. In certain circumstances, the price tag could actually be higher than your physical home. So it's a really interesting topic. We've gone really deep on it to try and value virtual lands and metaverse lands. So it's going to be a good one to listen to tomorrow if you're into the idea of investing in that side of things. So tomorrow, 4 p.m. UTC time here on Discord. So once again, I just want to thank my guest. I want to thank Lisk. I want to thank the audience, and I'll catch y'all next week.